republic for which it stands,
one nation, under God,
indivisible,
with liberty and justice for all.
Guns, self-defense, concealed carry. This is the Patriot Defense Podcast. From the war room in Idaho's high desert, here's your host, Todd Echols.
And I am back. It is a foggy Sunday afternoon, and I am tucked away in the war room somewhere in the high desert of southern Idaho. And I'm sitting here today thinking I should do a podcast. It's been a little over a week since I've done one. And about 3 different times, I didn't forget about you guys, but about 3 different times I thought, Todd, you need to just go out and do a podcast. But I've been struggling with everything that is going on in the news and just everything's been going on. There's been a lot going on in the last couple of weeks. If you follow the news, the national news, you'll see that. And I struggled with getting on here and doing a podcast because without getting, into necessarily what I believe, if you know me, if you've been around long enough, you might have an understanding or an idea of where I come from when I say this, but it was safer for me not to do a podcast. It was safer for me to kind of not really get online. I had things that I wanted to say, things that I wanted to talk about that probably wouldn't have been very beneficial for my business, beneficial for Patriot Defense. The world I'll probably get into it just a little bit without getting into it, but the world is a mess right now. There's so much stuff going on. There's so much stuff where I see it from the outlook and the viewpoint of the Republicans, and then I also of the right on the right, and then I see it from the viewpoint and the outlook of those on the left, and I just really don't know. I'm not going to go one way or the other on this, on everything that's been going on. And I don't know. It's hard not to talk about it because where I stand, the things I see, most just don't agree with. I see a lot of nastiness. I see a lot of people on the right who are getting nasty, and they're pushing this whole fuck around and find out type of situation. I see people getting nasty on the left as well, and it's just, I don't know. I mean, maybe it's the hippie part of me coming out or the human part of me coming out, and I don't even know what the answer is. But with everything going on, with the ICE, with the shootings, with the you name it, I see the need for. And we're going to get real political real quick, I guess. That's the way it's going to roll today. I see the need for the illegals needing to not be here, especially the nasty ones, the gang members, the violent ones, the ones that are committing crime. I totally get that, and I totally understand that. And I'm all for that. Get them out of here. But when you see the videos of the ICE agents, I mean, just taking people out of stores, taking people off the street, and even when they're producing documents and IDs that say that they are U.S. citizens, and they're just being horrible and nasty to them, keeping them for a while, and then releasing them. I see that as wrong. I honestly do see that as wrong. Like I said, I know the need for getting the nasty ones off the street, but the way I look at it right now is we have our federal government, federal forces on the streets of our town. Like, this is, I don't have an answer, but the way I see it is this is like third world country crap that is going on. And it's, it needs to be done, but it doesn't need to be done, or it needs to be more controlled, or ICE needs more training or something. I don't know. I don't know the answer. And there's people getting killed, right? The people get killed all the time. But there's people getting killed over this, and then when someone dies, you have someone on the right that says, oh, they fucked around and they found out. that's pretty callous. I mean, someone just died. You may not have believed in that person. You may not have agreed with them or their lifestyle. And I'm not getting soft. I'm looking at this from a human point. I'm a human. I'm a person. We all breathe. We all have lives. That person was someone to somebody, and now that person's dead. And did they have to die? It's pretty callous and pretty cold, I think, to come out and say they fucked around and found out. Yeah, I know they said crap about Charlie Kirk. They said crap about people on the right who died. The left was nasty too, but that doesn't mean we have to be nasty. But that doesn't mean the left has to be nasty either. I don't know where I fall in all this. I personally look at it and just say, I think the government, right, left, or any other type of government, I think they're winning. And I want to say they're not winning. They're winning. We're not winning. The citizens, I don't care who you are or what you believe in, the citizens are not winning. I think government is winning. And I think that's a bad thing. And I think they have us at each other's throats. And that's exactly where they want us. And they're going to do what they need to do to keep us there. Because if we're fighting amongst ourselves, then we're not paying attention to anything else that's going on. And I'm just gonna stop right there, because I don't want to go on, because I'm gonna get judged one way or the other. I'm gonna offend somebody. Someone's gonna get mad at me, and someone's gonna leave, and they're gonna say that guy at Patriot Defense, he doesn't believe this, he doesn't believe this, he voted for Biden, or this guy over here, he must be a Trumpy, he must. I didn't. If you don't truly know me, then you can't really talk about me, because I don't lean one way or the other. I really don't. There's good and bad on both sides, and the world's a mess right now. And everyone on the right and those that support the right, you make me sick. Everyone on the left and those that support the left, you guys make me sick as well. You really do. I feel kind of disconnected to a certain extent. And I think everything that's going on is turning everyone into horrible, nasty human beings. So much for staying out of it, right? And we'll stop, because multiple times I got on here and it wasn't going to be very nice to the right or the left. And I was going to kind of call people out. But that's not what this show's about. This show's about firearms. And it's actually pretty exciting in the world of firearms right now. It is. We are coming up on SHOT Show. Actually, SHOT Show starts tomorrow, and that explains a couple things. SHOT Show starts on the 20th, and it's when we get the new firearms, right? The manufacturers, they all meet together. It's an industry vendor type show, and they all meet together in Las Vegas, and I've never gone, and I really, really want to. But I'm not going to go beg for freaking tickets. But they get together, and they release all the new things. Everything the new for the upcoming year. Some of them have already been talked about. Some of them I just noticed Canik is going to be releasing something tomorrow, which is going to be kind of cool from what I can gather. But it's very interesting. This is when you, as a gun guy, a gun person, someone who enjoys this, you're going to make your little lists of what you want to buy. And then you're going to sit around for 6 or 7 months, because they are going to be unobtainable. They talk about them, and they're either not ready to release yet, or they're going to have such a high demand that you're not going to see any available at your local gun stores for many, many, many months, maybe a year. I've got stuff that came out last year that they talked about at the SHOT Show that I've just recently got my hands on in like the last month or so. And that's being the Kuna, and just some other things, right, that I still haven't even got my hands on that came out, that I've very rarely seen. I've heard rumors, oh, it's at this gun store. Oh, it's gone. Oh, it's over here at this gun store. Oh, it's gone. That's going to be how we live for the next year. Now, what is coming down the pipeline? I don't know everything that's coming down the pipeline. I kind of know as much as you know to a certain extent, but I was cruising around social media, and Canik has a new one that they are putting kind of teasers out. Go check out their. I tell you what, I think Canik has one of the best Instagram social media pages like ever. Their videos are pretty cool. I think they're cool. They keep you interested. They're high quality. So if you like watching those kind of things, check out some Canik whenever they advertise their guns. It's pretty cool. And Canik is very, very active on social media. Very active. But they have a new one coming out tomorrow. They're calling it the Canik Prime Radian. And I think it comes out with a better comp or something like that. But I've been thinking about buying a Prime. I've been thinking about trying to get my hands on a smaller Canik right now. The only Canik I have is a TTI Combat. So I've been thinking about this. I'm kind of maybe glad, even though I like the Prime, I like what I've seen from the Prime. I'm kind of glad maybe I have not purchased it. Because if this is going to be the bigger and better, I might as well just wait and see how long it takes me to get my freaking hands on this one. I know they advertised the Prime, and the Prime took months to even become available, but this is pretty cool. I'm looking forward to it. Now, also, Holosun, my red dot of choice, my optic of choice. I think I put a post up a few weeks back where I was going through my cupboards, and with Holosun, just like any optic, you want to, as soon as you buy it, you want to scan their card and register it and all that stuff. So then it's really easy to return and get a new one if something bad happens to it. It's just really easy that way. So I've got a stack of Holosun boxes, a whole bunch of them. And now they talk about they have coming out with the Holosun 507 Pro Max. So it's a wider view angle. It's a wider viewport. And it is solar, and it has a battery, a replaceable battery. And that replaceable battery is good for 100,000 hours. That's wild. I mean, they said that the batteries before on the other ones were 50,000. This is 100,000 hours. That's a chunk of time, man. And let's be honest with you. Even the 50,000 hour ones, I still change the batteries out once a year because I just don't want to show up to use it and have the battery be dead. That's garbage when that happens. And I want to avoid that the best that I can. So even at 100,000 hours, it's good to know you got that. But even at 100,000 hours, I'm still probably going to change that stupid battery out once a year because it's a couple dollars. Why not? It's good. It's good insurance. But they don't look a ton different, but they look a little different. Now, I don't know my optics real well. I forget what optic I think it looks like. But it's more round. It looks a little different. So next gun that I purchase that needs an optic, I'll probably get that one. Because why not? The bigger, get the biggest and the best that there is at the time that you go and purchase it. That's what I say as a Holosun fan. That's my line of thinking on this. Now I'm looking here. I've got a couple more things I want to talk about. One of them is my kiddo, my son Trig. He is 12 years old. And I kind of keep you guys updated on his shooting journey. And seemed like it wasn't too long ago. He was burning me out of house and home on 22 ammo, little single shot cricket, just shooting the crap out of that, enjoying that thing. And we kept trying to put him into a pistol. He was shooting the 22, shooting the TX-22 as well. But he was, we tried to put him into a 9, have him shoot some of the 9s, and he could shoot them, but he would occasionally just like limp wrist them. And, not occasionally. It would happen quite often, probably 70% of the time. And he just wasn't, he was 11 at the time, right? He just wasn't quite strong enough to use them successfully. And he tended to lean toward the 2011s, the high-end 2011s that I have. And I get it, but they're heavy. And he swears up and down. He's 12 now. Swears up and down. They weren't getting heavy, Dad. Mike can support it and yada, all this stuff. He's fighting me. So I put him I said, well, you need to learn on the striker fired, okay? We need to give you something that's got a good trigger, but it isn't like as finely tuned as these 2011s are. So I put him into the TTI Combat, and I won't say it's his gun, but that's the one that he shoots when we go out now. And I finally I had a SIG P 20 and 22. I think that's what it was. The 22 semi-auto, and it's given me a bunch of problems. And at one point, I was going to use it for a class gun, so I bought a cheap, inexpensive Holosun. It's a 6 MOA dot and put on there, and I wasn't using the gun, so I'm like, what are we doing here? And so I put that dot. I was going to go buy a new dot for the TTI because it's never had an optic put on it. And I went ahead and just switched them over and put that 6 MOA Holosun on the TTI for my kiddo. And he's been shooting the crap out of that thing. In fact, yesterday I had a group of guys come over, a bunch of buddies. I thought, well, we'll get them all over here to shoot. And my son said, hey, you know, his Taekwondo coaches and stuff, they had taken me long range shooting. So I invited them to come over and do some handgun stuff and just mess around on the range. And my son Trig, he's like, hey, my coaches are out there. My instructors are out there. Can I come shoot? And I was like, you know, there's 4 or 5 guys out there. You can come shoot. And he's really good. My son is really good with safety. When he's out, he listens, and he is 12 years old. So, but when it comes to actual firearms, like, he listens. Like, he follows the rules, you name it. He's a rule follower. He's a pretty good little shot. And we had him out there, and I gave him the TTI. I kind of just recapped some safety stuff, recapped all that stuff with him, and I set him right there. And I set him next to his instructor from Taekwondo, and then another a buddy of mine, his name's Mason. And I looked at Mason and said, you okay with him standing right here and shooting? Like, you aren't going to have to help him. He'll holler at me if he needs a hand. And Mason's like, yeah, no, he's good. And he just sat there and shot. I think he burned up like 150 rounds yesterday. He's banging steel. Like, he shot the Texas Star pretty successfully. He missed a few, but we all missed a few. He shot paper, and on the paper targets, I'll have to go get a picture of him. Not too bad for a 12-year-old, okay? Not too bad for a 12-year-old. Shooting that TTI Combat, one that he can rack the slide on, but he still struggles to rack the slide on it. His hands need to grow just a little bit more. He didn't limp wrist, but he's got holes in his paper targets that you could stick a golf ball through. And yeah, he's got some flyers, but mostly you could stick a golf ball size hole in each one of these targets. I'm so proud of him. He shot so well. He did very safe. We did a little after action report. I called the guys, talked to the guys that were standing next to him, and said, hey, look, how did he do? Like, I told them beforehand, if he moves that gun around, I want you to correct him, because I'm not going to be standing right next to him. He did absolutely fantastic. Not a problem. I'm so proud of him. He went out there. He did this. He did really good. And he shot a bunch of ammo. An 11-year-old shooting about 150 rounds of that 9mm. That's pretty darn good. I mean, I only had him load like 5 rounds at a time. My thoughts are to give his little arms a break. Granted, he's been working out. He's been getting stronger. So I think that really helps with the limp wristing and the grip control and all that of that firearm. But I didn't want him to wear his little arms out. And guess what? Shooting 5 rounds at a time does. It makes it so what? He gets to load the magazine every time he runs out, which is a lot when you're only shooting 5 rounds at a time. He gets to do what? He gets to do all the mechanics. He gets to put the magazine in the gun. He gets to rack the slide. He gets to re-grip the thing. All those things, those fundamentals that you need to do repeatedly, one after another, after another, after another. And you just got to keep doing that. And that's good practice. It's that muscle memory. He did absolutely fantastic. And I'm really close to thinking I need to hook this kid up with a freaking holster and work on that a little bit. I'm considering it. I really am considering this. Working on the holster, having him, teaching him how to shoot just a little quicker, that kind of stuff. He's at a really good place right now, and I'm just a proud dad at this point. He came out with the guys. He came out with the adults. He was the only kid out there, and he hung with them. In fact, he may have shot better than some of them, but he hung with them, and he did really good. I was super impressed. Now, he doesn't listen to my podcast, so he's not going to hear this, but I wanted you guys to all know. Pretty proud dad over here. Oh, and I'm just dropped my freaking phone full of notes. on my desk. Let's see here. And that's another reason why I thought about getting another Canic, is quite possibly the bigger gun's working really well for him, but maybe a smaller one would fit his hands better if he can manage that recoil. So that's another reason why I'm thinking, and I just need another freaking gun, like, honestly. I did my radio show the other day. It's a radio show I do every Friday from 8 to 9. Occasionally I get the whole show, but mostly I'm just there on Fridays 8 to 9, and it's a call-in show. And I started talking about carry position. Carry position as where do you carry the gun on your person? There's a lot of different places. And what spawned this was I saw a post about a guy the other day. I don't even know who this guy is, but he posted on Facebook. I'm getting lots of weird people recommended to me lately. And he's in the gun business. I don't think he's a big name. But he talked about how he appendix carried for years and years and years. And he got this new gun to try out, and he decided that he would carry it on his hip. Well, just behind his hip. So more toward the back. And he's like, I just forgot how good this felt. It's so comfortable. It's so this. It's so that. I'm like, yeah, buddy, but you gave up a lot. You gave up a lot. I think the best spot to carry a gun on your person is appendix. I don't think you can get better than that. Now, if you're on your hip for a reason, that's fine. That's fine, as long as you can get to that gun and it's safe and all this good stuff. But I'm going to say appendix is by far, if you were to rate it, it is the best position to carry your gun from. Why? A couple different things. It is hard for someone to take your gun from you. Yeah, they have to approach you from the front. They're not going to snatch it from the back. Okay, you can defend the gun very, very, very well. I think appendix carry, it conceals much better because it's against you. It's got, you're the background. It fades into you, right? When you carry it on your hip, it changes the look of your profile, right? And typically your profile is you're walking towards someone or you're walking away from them, and they can look on your hip and they can see the outline of that gun or the big lump where your shirt is, and it looks like you have something there. And someone could just assume that it's a gun, easily assume that it's a gun, which it is. But when you carry appendix and you're facing them, like, it's harder for them to see. It blends in better. It is more toward what we call center line. So center line being is if you were to take draw a line and cut your body in half, right down the middle of your nose, down your chest, down your belly, so you cut your body in half 50-50. That is your center line. And you're carrying it in the front center line. And the closer you can get it to the center line, the better. And honestly, that's the quickest presentation from drawing concealed from a holster that you can get. You got to tweak it a little bit. You got to find out what works for you. Yeah, I was talking about this, and I had some dummy call in. He messaged into the show and goes, appendix carry. Yeah, appendix carry. That's how, you have one errant round and all of a sudden you become a Democrat because you've shot yourself in the nuts. I tell you what, that is the most asinine thing. Tell me this. Tell me you lack training without telling me you lack training. Okay? Tell me that you're going to shoot yourself, you're going to shoot yourself in the wiener because you use an improper holster. Tell me you're going to shoot yourself in the wiener because you can't keep your freaking finger off the trigger when you draw the gun. Tell me you're going to shoot yourself in the wiener because you can't reholster properly and you get your shirt tangled up in there, or you leave your finger on the trigger when you go to reholster. Tell me all that stuff, right? Just let's be honest. That is called lack of training. That is called laziness. Now, again, carry the gun where you want to carry it. I would not go small back or back there, but let's be smart about it. Let's not just assume that somebody who appendix carries is going to shoot themselves in the nuts. That's the most asinine thing that I've ever heard in my life. Okay? It's all about training. It's all about practice. It's all about responsibility and muscle memory and safety. right? Which is what you should have when you're dealing with a firearm. Okay, I want to say that the person that probably messaged in and said that, he probably carries in a beat down leather holster, right? This guy's probably rocking, Uncle Mike's or something like that. Okay, he probably carries a freaking 1911. I think that is the biggest FUD statement I've ever had called into that show, or at least in the last little while. I don't think he listens to the podcast, but maybe he is. But sir, that is lack of training. That's like someone telling me they carry a gun without a round chambered. That is just lack of training. Tell me that you've had lack of training or bad training, or you don't know how to handle your gun without telling me that, because that's what that tells me. Okay, so don't assume that you know better, because you do not. It brings me to my next topic. We're just burning through these one by one here. I had a chat with the guys that came to shoot yesterday, and they're asking me about classes and whatnot. And we had this chat about drawing and shooting and those kind of classes. And like, you must do a lot of those. And I'm like, no, not really. Because I'm not picking on people. I mean, I am, but I'm not. I don't get a request for those classes. There is, out of all my students, the drawing and the shooting and the getting good at it and the doing the mag changes and stuff like that, I bet you it might be even less than 3%. It might be like 2% of my students want to proceed further and learn how to do that and get better at it. And there's nothing wrong with that. We're all here for, like I said, different reasons. We're here for different things. We want to achieve. All have different goals. I get that. I understand that. And I appreciate, the fundamentals are important. You've got to learn that stuff. But when I throw those numbers out there, I looked at everyone and they just kind of like looked at me. I said, there's not a whole lot of people that want, and I can't answer that for you. I don't know why. Because if you carry a gun, it stops. I mean, it doesn't stop at being proficient, keeping all your rounds in something the size of a softball on paper from a static position 12 yards away or 10 yards away or 7 yards away from the target. That's where you start, but there's so much more than that. A lot of people, they can do that. They're like, okay, I'm good to carry my gun. And that's probably a good portion that can still carry people, honestly. Now, is that being responsible? Well, as long as you're acting responsible and you're carrying responsible, it is to a certain extent, but there's so much more. You should strive to be better. You've got this gun in a holster on your waist, and if you have to use it, it behooves you to be proficient at it. It behooves you to be good at it. You have that responsibility for you, yourself, or you, those around you, your family, and then those you're just around at the store in town. Like, you need to be proficient, and I don't know why. I don't know why people stop. Why they stop? They're going to carry the gun, but they stop. I don't get that, right? This is a right. This is a Second Amendment right to be able to defend yourself, right? And you could say, if you believe in this, you believe in God, you could say it's a right given to you from God himself, right? To be able to do all this stuff, or your creator, or whatever you believe in. And it definitely is. But with rights become some responsibilities. Just because it's a right doesn't mean you're good at it. Doesn't mean it's not going to take some practice. Doesn't mean that you don't need to put in the time and the effort. I mean, a lot of people do. Unfortunately, they just, throw that gun in their waistband with no holster and think they're good to go. Like, I've seen it. I've seen it. They just let that gun rattle around in their purse or their gun bag loaded with no holster and just rolling around in there, right? And they're good to go. I mean, they think it's fantastic and they're going to be able to save the day. That's not true. I mean, yeah, you possibly could, but don't you want to get good at it? Don't you want to get, to proficient with it? Don't you want to know more? I don't understand why I don't see more people that want to learn that stuff. It's all fun, but it just gets more and more fun. Just something that makes me scratch my head. I don't really understand it. One more thing here before we go is, and I'm not trying to ask for rebellion. I'm really not. I don't want to see a bunch of this stuff happen. I just want to live my life with my family and be left alone. That's really all I want to do. But, Second Amendment guys, gun guys, we say we have the Second Amendment. Why? One of the main reasons, and I've repeated this tons on my radio show, is to stand up against the tyrannical government. When is that? Like I said, I don't think maybe we shouldn't be rallying right now. I don't want to be the guy that, I don't think I'm going to cause, I don't know if not enough people listen to this podcast for me to cause anything. But when is that time? When is that time? When do we stand up to a tyrannical government? Right? Was it during COVID? Right? Is it right now where there's actual federal troops or federal law enforcement on the ground being harsh to people who are citizens, even citizens, right? Is it they're in our neighborhoods, they're in our states? Like, I already stated how I felt on that. I don't really know how to feel, but is now the time? Is now the time? I don't know. When is the time to stand up to tyrannical government? What does that mean? And this is a legit question. When is it tyrannical? Right? When they go door to door? When they just show up at the grocery store and start taking people? When they start killing people on the streets? When they start asking us for our papers? When we have to go through checkpoints? Like, when is the whole tyrannical government thing come to play? Like, what's going to, not that I'm looking forward to that, because I'm not, but what constitutes a tyrannical government? I bet you it's different for those on the right than those on the left. It probably just depends on who's in charge. Am I right? I think we have to be real careful. I think sometimes when our guy is in charge, even and we've done nothing for however many years, say that the guy is our guy, the president is our president, and then he starts to do things that aren't right, that don't necessarily jive. I think that we're in trouble when we just give him a pass because he's our guy, because he's the president, because he knows best. I think that we need to pay attention to that when it happens. And I'm not saying right now is them being a tyrannical government, because I don't know. It's a question I'm asking everyone else. When is it? When is it tyranny? Like, when is it tyranny? I really don't know. And again, I think that answer is different for absolutely everyone. And just to quell the people that are saying Todd just doesn't like what's going on and he wants to jump in there with his gun and he wants to lead the next civil war. I don't want it to come to that. I don't want any of that to happen. I don't want to have to fight. I mean, I will if I absolutely have to, but I don't want to. I've got a decent life here. Yeah, I'm as miserable as everyone else. It's about fuel prices, about food prices, about the price of rent, the price of cars, houses, the taxes, you name it. When it comes to all that stuff, I'm as miserable as anybody else. But really, that it's not a pass, right? I complain about it, and yeah, I want it changed, but I don't want to have to go out and fight if I don't have to. I like my family. I love my family. I like my little life here. I like being left alone. I just get tired of being walked over and I think you do as well. Again, I don't know what is right. I don't know what is wrong. I don't know what the answer is. But we're going to just leave it at that. And I'm going to get on out of here. I've got some stuff to do. It's Sunday, late Sunday afternoon. Got to get some chores done, get ready for the week. And I'll try to get on here. Hopefully I didn't get too political for you guys. I'm trying not to. oust myself one way or the other. But I'm sure I've irritated somebody. So think what you want, think what you will. I've heard it all. I get the emails. I get the text messages. I get it all. So I'll talk to you guys later. You guys have a good week.